Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, of course today, Friday, October 7th, is the day that now Marvel Studios, a special presentation of Werewolf by Night, is now officially streaming on Disney+. So I took the chance to check it out. It's only about 55 minutes, but of course, you know, Marvel and Disney+, that's like minus 7 minutes for credits, so it's like 48, 49 minutes. Wow, this is good. Like, I was excited for this, definitely, especially after that trailer, but I didn't know it was going to be this good. And this honestly gets me really excited to see that we have Marvel Studios taking a big interest in doing more of these special presentations in the future, because it's such a cool, unique opportunity. Instead of having to do a full two and a half hour movie or a 6-episode Disney Plus series, just do one 50-ish minute special about a character. Just tell this one contained story. And that's what they did here, and it was so beautiful, and just gets me so excited to see what we're going to be getting from the upcoming holiday special for Guardians of the Galaxy. That's going to be a lot of fun. And also, this just got me in the Halloween mood. This was amazing. This was really... I mean, everybody's been complaining about Phase 4. I've been one of the defenders of it. I've enjoyed Phase 4 for the most part. Sure, it's had its weak parts, but this is definitely one of the highlights. This was amazing. I had so much fun with this. Literally, as soon as it was over, the first thing I said was, that was awesome. I love that. And the thing is, it's because, you know, a lot of the things they've been trying to do in Phase 4 is trying all these new, different things. But the thing about this is that it's very new and different. It almost doesn't even feel like Marvel. It doesn't even feel like the MCU, but it's at the same time still retains that factor of it being part of the MCU. Like, I went through this not thinking about, like, ooh, what cameo characters are going to show up, and Easter eggs and all this stuff. There weren't really many Easter eggs, but it did get me thinking about, like, I like these characters, and I want to see them show up in some other project. I want to maybe see them cross over with this other character. That's the kind of way I was thinking throughout watching this project, and especially now after. So anyways, guys, we are going to go and talk about this. This is going to be the review and breakdown. So spoiler warning, there's going to be spoilers in this video if you haven't checked it out yet. Again, it's now streaming on Disney+. A little less than an hour. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it yet. Alright, so let's talk Werewolf by Night. First of all, Michael Giacchino. Wow, what a directorial debut. Of course, Michael Giacchino, he's a composer. You know, he composed the score for The Batman along with a whole bunch of other great films. He also did the score for this as well, of course. But he was the director as well. And this is one of the first things, like when we were first hearing about that, I was like, really? That's interesting. I didn't expect that. But now, hearing some of the things he said in interviews, behind the scenes, his ideas and his passion for this, you can really see it come to life in this special, and it was just so amazing to watch unfold. The whole black and white element of it, I wasn't sure how that was going to be, but I did really enjoy it. It added a whole level to it. Of course, it is a big homage to, like, classic horror monster movies from, like, the 30s and 40s, which I haven't seen, but I do feel like this is kind of... So I don't know firsthand if this captured the vibes of those films, but I feel like this is what they are like. It actually does make me want to go back and watch the original Wolfman and The Mummy and some of those classic movies, because it just got me in that mood. Now, one of the best things about the whole black and white element, though, is for the gore. This is something that everybody's been complaining about for years now with the MCU. Oh, it's Disney. Oh, it's Disney Plus. We can't go further than PG-13, blood, swearing, all that stuff. Obviously, we know Deadpool's coming and doing all that stuff, but this really took it to the next level. And I do think that's in part because of the black and white factor, because they could just show more blood without it being as gory, I guess. But this thing was gory. Like, there was a lot of blood, there was a lot of violence, people's hands getting chopped off, people burning alive, people getting a hook through their throat, axe to the face. It was brutal and disgusting, but so awesome at the same time. The action here was amazing. Like, all the characters that died had such creative deaths, and just the action overall, all the fighting styles were really interesting. I do have to admit that Elsa Bloodstone in her fighting, she did kind of look like Black Widow, which a lot of people are complaining about because, like, oh, it's just a copycat of Black Widow. I'm not complaining as much because she looked really cool doing what she was doing. But yeah, I would prefer some more originality there. Now, as for the story was really interesting because, again, you have this small contained runtime. How are you going to be able to tell a full in-depth story, do full character arcs and all that? Well, they actually execute it really well. We have kind of two main parts to the storyline where we start off with the whole monster hunt, going through the garden maze, which honestly was just an amazing set piece to work on there. And then also we have at the end kind of the werewolf part, which was an interesting element that we didn't even get the werewolf in the Werewolf by Night Halloween special until the end. But I do feel like it worked pretty well. So anyway, speaking of that, let's talk about characters. So of course, Gael Garcia Bernal stars as our main character here, Jack Russell, aka the Werewolf by Night. He was an amazing character, and was one of my favorite parts of this was Gael Garcia Bernal's acting. Like, his performance here was beautiful and just mesmerizing to watch. Some of his scenes with Elsa Bloodstone, like when they were in the tomb with like all the different, grave stuff going on there that they had to escape from, just like his explanation of who he is, and when they were in the cage together, really just the chemistry between those two characters was really amazing and beautiful to watch, especially when he was in werewolf form. It was almost kind of like a Beauty and the Beast type thing. Also, kind of speaking of MCU, like the Hulk Natasha type storyline in Age of Ultron. So I love that. And the fact that he is a monster hunter but not really, like, he kind of used that. Like, he does technically hunt monsters. He does kill monsters, just in werewolf form. He doesn't really have control of that, but he used that to be able to get into this group to then go on to help out and save his friend Man-Thing, aka Ted, which was awesome. We'll talk about him in a second here. But I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed seeing Jack Russell in action here. Also getting to see the paint on his face, how that's connected to like his ancestors and stuff. Having a Latino actor in the lead role, race bending the character from the comics. I think, there's nothing to complain about there. Like, it doesn't change anything about the characters. I love that. Great representation. And when it comes to the whole werewolf part, we do get that in this kind of the second act of the story. It is all practical effects, which is something we've known about for a while now, and something I was actually really looking forward to, because especially with the MCU, this past year has been a little iffy on their CGI, and going back to, again, this being an homage to like classic 30s, 40s monster movies, doing the prosthetics for the werewolf. He didn't look fantastic, but he didn't look bad either. I actually really enjoyed the look of his character. Then again, it wasn't black and white. He was in the shadows for the most part. We didn't really get an amazing look at the character. But I still really enjoyed his design. I enjoyed the gruesomeness, the violence of him, biting somebody's ear off. And also the mannerisms of the werewolf, like when they were in the cage, before he even turned into the werewolf, when he was like scratching his ear, and then the whole sniffing Elsa and stuff was weird at first, but then when you actually understand why he's doing it, it was great. Because it was like a love story, but not at the same time. So I really enjoyed that element of it. And speaking of that, we also have Elsa Bloodstone, played by Laura Donnelly here. Now, this was a character that I had really low expectations for going into this project, because from what I had heard from critics and reviews, they said that she is nothing like the character from the comics. I don't see that at all in this project. Like, I kind of went with those opinions based off what we saw in the teaser trailer, or trailer, whatever you want to call it, based on just that shot of her being like super scared. So I assumed that was going to be like her throughout the whole thing. I was like, oh man, she's going to be a damsel in distress. But she's not. Elsa Bloodstone is a badass in this project, and she was awesome to see. Again, she had the whole Black Widow fight style. She was the one that actually did the most kills in this special, and she was a really skilled fighter. She had these clear-cut motivations. She had this great story and arc, and the ending you have for her sets her up for more in the future. And even the fact that, like, she doesn't really even look like Elsa Bloodstone from the comics. She doesn't have the red hair or anything. That doesn't bother me at all, because she feels like the character of Elsa Bloodstone. She feels like the monster hunter, and I just think that was amazing. But my favorite part by far, I think, is Man-Thing. This is something I was so excited to see. I've always been a big fan of Man-Thing. So getting to see him in live action here, he looked great. Of course, he was CGI, unlike the prosthetic Werewolf by Night. We do have CGI Man-Thing here, and he was great. Obviously, he doesn't talk, but the way he communicates, the way he was friends with Jack, I think that was nice to see. Also, the fact that they call him Ted is like funny, but at the same time, that is his name in the comics, so I think that was pretty awesome. The design was just great, and then especially even when we go to color at the end, like he already looked great in black and white, but when we go to color, you can just see the in-depth detail of the Man-Thing design. And just the portrayal of the character and everything was great to see as well. His kills, like how he just grabbed people and like burn them to death. Especially that last one. I don't even know the lady's name, but that crazy lady, like burning her alive and throwing her at the reanimated corpse of her dead husband. That was great to see. Man-Thing's inclusion here was just amazing. But this then brings us to the ending of the Werewolf by Night Halloween special, where we have Elsa Bloodstone. She is still left at this kind of Bloodstone estate, household, whatever you want to call it, and she now has obtained the Bloodstone, just like she has in the comics. So I'm really excited to see where she goes in the future as a monster hunter. Everybody else there is dead now, so she's kind of in charge. But I love this ending with Gael Garcia Bernal's Jack Russell and Man-Thing. Again, just seeing these two in color was great. The whole Wizard of Oz element of this, I think, was really cool. The song, the transition to color was great. Even the end being in the same font style, that was nice to see. But you can just see, like, I love that Man-Thing and Werewolf by Night are, like, actually friends. I think that's pretty awesome. But, it has a very open ending where it's like, you don't know where these characters are going to go. But again, it makes me feel like I want to see more of these characters. This, in less than 50 minutes, this special made me fall in love with these characters and want to see more of them, which hopefully will be Midnight Suns. This is something I've talked about on the channel plenty before. Midnight Suns, if you don't know what they are, basically it's like the Avengers, but for the supernatural characters. It's the Supernatural Avengers. It's a team from Marvel Comics, and it's something that has been rumored to be in development for the MCU, and I just really hope that that ends up being the case, because you have these great characters specifically from this project, all three of them, Elsa Bloodstone, Werewolf by Night, and Man-Thing, which then you can bring together with Moon Knight. We got Mahershala Ali as Blade coming up, hopefully bring in Ghost Rider somewhere here, maybe get us, Punisher, possibly some Daredevil in there, maybe Doctor Strange, possibly a Scarlet Witch, Agatha Harkness, that type of character, maybe even a Jared Leto Morbius. It's Morbin time, who knows? But the possibilities are endless with this, and I just love that we're going deeper into this supernatural corner of the MCU, kind of kicking off with Doctor Strange, that whole franchise, going even deeper with Moon Knight and that Disney Plus series earlier this year, and now going into Werewolf by Night with Blade coming up next year. It just gets me really excited for what's to come in the future of the supernatural corner in the MCU, and just makes me want to see more of this, because it's so cool, and especially getting to see how far they took it in this project with the gore, the violence, the supernatural vibes, the spookiness. It just makes me want to see more, and that's something that I just love so much about this Halloween special. It's such a great way to kick off these Marvel Studios special presentation and I'm just so excited to see more. I had so much fun with this. It got me in the Halloween vibes and made me fall in love with these characters. I really enjoyed the story. I loved everything about Marvel Studios' Werewolf by Night. But guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think about Werewolf by Night on Disney Plus? Did you enjoy it? Did you not like it? What did you think of the black and white element? What did you think about the story, the violence, the characters? Werewolf by Night, aka Jack Russell, Elsa Bloodstone, Man-Thing, and where do you want to see these characters again? Do you want to see Midnight Suns? Do you want to see like a sequel to this? Do you want to see a Disney Plus series just about these characters? Let me know in the comments below. But for now, guys, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video and hit the subscribe button so I can keep you up to date on everything goes on in the Marvel life.